Vande Devamumapatim Suragurum Vande Jagatkaranam Vande Pannagabhushanam Mrigadharam Vande Pashunam Patim Vande Surya Shashanka Vanhinayanam Vande Mukunda Priyam Vande Bhaktajanashrayam cha varadam Vande Shivam Shankaram Vande Bhaktajanashrayam cha varadam Vande Shivam Shankaram. In our introductory sessions of Shiva Manasa Puja, we have been seeing the various tools that one requires to be able to access the quiet inner space within through one's sadhana, through karma yoga, through the right values and attitudes in life, and more closely when before you sit for a manasa puja, disciplining your posture, paying attention to asana, paying attention to pranayama, paying attention to pratyahara. And so this process of alignment, of relaxation, of resilience, arriving at that inner still space is essential to inviting the higher altar. In other words, please understand, any puja, whether you do as a physical form of worship or you do as a mental prayer, it entails the devotee in you to be awakened. And therefore, it is not just a technique. We are not just working with a technique of pranayama and asana, so on. It is about alignment with a single script. As I said, you are either a devotee or a disciple of truth. You are a seeker of truth or you are a devotee. It is only in this role, with this script, can you have your expressions of devotion come through in your manasa puja. And therefore, it is not merely a meditation technique. We are not just working with a technique. It is working with a sattvika devotee. A devotee who is committed to dharma, a devotee who is committed to protecting dharma, having the right attitudes, being faithful, being humble. There is so much more that goes into a person wanting to associate or wanting to have a live relationship with the divine. Believe me, when I say live relationship, it is not that Bhagavan or the divine sits as a concept in the back of my mind. He is not a concept in the back of my mind. He is alive. He is right here and now. Alive, when we say alive, means vibrant, omniscience is alive when I say, how do you say omniscience is alive? Omniscience is alive because the creation is alive. The creation is ever in its rhythm, in its pattern, in its movements. When you see the tree growing, when you see the birds waking up in the morning, is this not alive? Is this not life? Life is God. Life is the infinite. Whichever form life expresses itself, it is the omniscience, that intelligence, the order, the lawgiver. That omniscience presents itself as a vibrant creation before my eyes. And therefore, the omniscience is alive, no? And to bring a dynamic, a live relationship between this living being and the omniscience which is alive, everything in this universe is alive, please understand. There is such a fine line between the sentient and the insentient. How do you define the sentient and the inert? I don't know anymore if you can define a sentient and the inert as two different categories in this world. We talk about our coronavirus, okay? Because it is exclusively ours, belonging to the human civilization. No other life form on earth has owned it up. Only we. Even this, what you call the coronavirus, what is it? Is it alive? Is it to be alive? It should be a cellular organism, no? It must have DNA, it must have RNA, it must have the cell membrane. It doesn't have any of that. A virus has only one protein, either DNA or RNA. It has no membrane, no cellular membrane. That is why a virus cannot multiply, because it's not a cell, it's not a cellular organism. It cannot go 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. It cannot, like the bacteria can. And that's why the virus does not survive outside. It needs a host. It needs a cellular host, a host which can support its life. And so, if you look at this coronavirus, it's just a protein, no? It's not even a cell. And it depends on your body cell to multiply. It takes a host cell in order to multiply, no? And zaps you off your immune system. And so, this is, would you call the virus inert? Will you call it inert? Or will you call it live? How would you define? I don't know how to call. If it is inert, then it should not be so bothersome to us. Are you afraid of inert things? But we are so afraid. The whole humanity has closed down its machinery out of fear of this inert microscopic particle, protein particle. Well, because it is not inert. It operates on an intelligence. Nothing is inert. All that is here operates on the omniscience, on the intelligence. And in everything that you categorically divide as inert and sentient, everything that is regulated, dictated by what? By that omniscience which is vibrant. In that stone it is vibrant, in the river it's vibrant, in the mountain it's vibrant, in the air it's vibrant, in all that is here, it is the omniscience that is. The creation is nothing but omniscience. Nature is nothing but omniscience that presents itself in our experience day to every day. If that stone is inert, it cannot fall on my head and kill me. It has moved based on an intelligence. Why I'm looking up there? Because I remember going up the Himalayan roads. Suddenly one rock will fall from somewhere and take a life away, just like that. How many lives I have seen pop off by just these rocks. And why did that rock fall? Only for this guy? Some intelligence is behind its operation, is it not? And so how can we treat anything in this world differently? All that is here is born of the 5 elements. Some of them don't have a subtle body of the 5 elements. All that they have is the gross that you call the material world. That which has the subtle body within the gross, well, we say in that subtle body reflects life. Okay, you may express different ways, but if you're going to tell me that omniscience is not alive in this universe, then we are not standing on the same platform. Your universities, your centers of learning, your libraries, your knowledge does not sit in libraries. Knowledge does not sit in book, whether it is physics or chemistry or biology or geology or any knowledge, discipline of knowledge, mathematics. They don't sit in books. They sit in this thing called nature, that sit in the creation. And therefore knowledge sits in the creation, is it not? And please tell me, can knowledge ever sit in a dead matter? Can knowledge ever sit in what you call inert? Can knowledge sit in this table? If knowledge sits in the table, knowledge won't allow me to, table will not allow me to knock on it. It will say, oh, it's hurting me. Knowledge sits where? In a being. Knowledge sits in a being of consciousness. And therefore this knowledge which exists in this universe is not sitting, this knowledge is not sitting nowhere. It is sitting in the universal being, whom we call universal consciousness, holding the knowledge of the universe, expressing that knowledge as the laws of nature, all the laws that we see and study in our books in various disciplines. All that I am saying is the infinite is here and now. The divine is here and now for us to relate to and make that relationship live and vibrant. A relationship which is passionate, a relationship that you are in love with, a relationship that can channel and settle and comfort your emotions. A relationship that can question and challenge your intelligence. A relationship with the infinite is a relationship that is complete and full for a human being. A relationship owning up which, becoming one with which fulfills a traveler's life journey itself. This is how real that relationship must be. Why Kannappa's story moved us so deeply is because his relationship was real. The power of the prayer, this is called the power of the prayer, where you cannot but get a response from that altar. Your prayer is so powerful. Your prayer is such that it leaves no stone unturned. For what? For a consequence, for a result. And the result has to happen. It will happen. If it won't happen to you in your pure devotion, then that altar is not worth looking at a second time. No altar of the divine ever disappoints a devotee. Never, 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 never. Never can an altar which is invoked in true devotion ever disappoint a devotee. Because the universe, the omniscient being, is in you, is always there owning you up, healing you. He is the cosmic healer. He is the greatest lap you can rest your head on. Only we have to learn how to. And therefore here, taking refuge in this tradition of puja, taking the refuge in this tradition of puja begins a very beautiful process of bringing that altar before your mind's eye. You are going to invite the infinite, the omniscient being. And how would you do that? Well, you create the most majestic, magnificent altar. It's not about calling your son to come and sit before you, or calling your neighbor and say, please take a chair. It's not about just taking a chair or a stool or whatever is available. Here, I'm inviting the infinite. And therefore, it has to be so real for you. In your visualization, you make it so real, so vibrant, so alive, so dynamic. The relationship is so dynamic that you provide a great throne, a diamond-studded throne, jewels, precious gems studded throne on which He is the King of all kings. That's where the omniscient being will come and sit. Now you will tell me, Ammaji, I don't have money for buying my own diamond earring. How can I make a 9 gems studded throne? That is precisely why we move into a mental form of worship. Why? Because you can be rich. You can show your magnanimity. You can show your royalty. You can just throw your wealth, throw all that you have at the feet of the divine. You can do it where? Mentally, in your manasa puja. And so this verse, very beautiful, you will see the power of Shiva Manasa Puja. As you study, these words unfold. And so when you invite the Lord, how do you invite is described in this first verse. Let us begin our chanting, learning to chant, and I shall unfold the verse one by one. Ratnai kalpitamasanam himajalaihi Ratnai kalpitam asanam himajalaihi Snanam cha divyambaram Snanam cha divyambaram Nana ratna vibhushitam mrigamada Nana ratna vibhushitam mrigamada Modankitam chandanam Modankitam chandanam Ratnai kalpitamasanam himajalaihi Snanam cha divyambaram Ratnai kalpitamasanam himajalaihi Snanam cha divyambaram Nana ratna vibhushitam mrigamada modankitam chandanam Nana ratna vibhushitam mrigamada modankitam chandanam Jati champaka bilva patra rachitam Jati champaka bilva patra rachitam Pushpam cha dhupam tatha Pushpam cha dhupam tatha Deepam devadaya nidhe pashupate Deepam devadaya nidhe pashupate Hritkalpitam grihyatam Hritkalpitam grihyatam Jati champaka bilva patra rachitam Pushpam cha dhupam tatha Jati champaka bilva patra rachitam Pushpam cha dhupam tatha Deepam devadaya nidhe pashupate Hritkalpitam grihyatam Deepam devadaya nidhe pashupate Hritkalpitam grihyatam. And so in this verse, we invite the infinite being to take a seat, asanam, to take a seat. What kind of a seat? Which is ratnaihi, which is visualized, which is made fit for you. How is it made fit for the infinite being? By making it as royal as you possibly can. Because we believe in royalty, we believe in wealth, we believe in money, we believe in this. We believe in Goddess Lakshmi, in other words. And so whatever you believe in for yourself, you offer it to the divine. Offer the best to the infinite. Ratnai kalpitam asanam. I give you an asanam, a seat which is studded with gems. Because you are the king of all kings. I have created a throne for you in my visualization. Please come and take your seat. This is a bhavana. This is an expression of love, of a real dynamic relationship with the divine. As somebody said, God is everywhere. But his hometown is India. Why? How do you say that? Because in the Indian culture, you treat God as your family member. You treat God in a live relationship. Whatever you do for yourself, you first offer it to the divine. Before I eat, I offer it to the divine. Whatever I do, he is the eldest of the family. He is my family member. If I have my bedroom, I give him first his room. I wake up, get ready, and first go greet him, seek his blessings. And so he is my family member. It's dynamic. There is nothing that is done without including the infinite in your day-to-day life. That is how alive a relationship with the infinite is looked upon in this culture, in this sacred living culture. Because his omniscience exists in all the 5 elements which rule my day-to-day life. And so here in the first verse, the offerings are done as per the traditional form of worship. I mentioned to you, Kanappas, you can tell me, I want to be like Kanappa. I don't want to learn all this form of worship, 5 steps and 10 steps and 16 steps. I don't want to learn. I want to be like Kanappa. Then be ready to pluck your eye, remember. Your devotion must be so powerful that pain in that stone and the pain in this body looks to you as one. If that is your height of devotion, only then you are exempted from these 16-step or 5-step expression of worship. Until then, until we develop our bond with the divine, we use these tools, these expressions of what has been given to us in a tradition and learn and connect the spirit with the form. You may tell me, I don't have this feeling towards this form of worship. In the beginning, it's always like that. It is like an Indian marriage, You find yourself married to a person and over time you learn to love him. Over time you learn to understand your role of a wife, of that husband. You learn to connect in love. Your love becomes a cultivated process through the forms, through the expressions. Please understand, when the form is there, you can infuse the spirit. If there is no form itself of connecting, then where will the spirit or the feeling sit? Every emotion needs a form of expression, no? We have seen this before. And therefore, this forms of worship, the 5-step worship, is a expression of doing something. You do, my guru used to say, if you hate somebody, if you resent somebody, and you are a sadhaka, you are a spiritual seeker, you don't want to hate anybody in this world, you want your attitudes to change, then what should you do? My teacher used to say, you know what you do? For 41 days, every day, you walk up to that person and offer that person a rose. In the beginning, it will be impossible. In fact, that person will stare at you. What are you trying to do? Out of fear, you may not want to go, but afraid, still carry that rose. Request that person, please allow me to do this because, be honest, well, I want to change my feelings towards you. Please accept and help me in this process. Maybe first day you will just hand over this and in disgust and come back. Next day you may maybe, walk closer to him and give it instead of thrusting it in his hand. Third day, maybe you will lift your eyes to look at him, look at his face. Fourth day, maybe you will meet him in his eyes, but unable to say anything, walk away. Fifth day, when you give the rose, maybe you will be able to smile. Sixth day, maybe you will say 2 words, thank you for accepting. Over time, you will find that your emotions soften. Why? Because that form begins to do its magic. What is that magic? Infusing what? A connection, softening you up, as soft as those petals of that red rose. It softens you up and carries your soft emotions within, and slowly you find by the time you reach the 41st day, you're not just handing over a flower, you may be giving each other a hug in friendship. And so the power of a form to transform a spirit, please don't underwrite. It is a very powerful process of doing a puja in connecting to the divine. It is a creating a relationship, forming a relationship, nurturing a relationship, and finding your own expressions to express your relationship. Puja is about talking to the divine. Only when you talk, you will wait to learn the art of listening. Listening to the universe, listening to the answers, listening to the omniscience from within you. And therefore, this inner process of giving and receiving, of talking to the divine and listening to the divine, is the manasa puja. It is a great privilege you can nurture for yourself. Well, we will see after you have given this beautiful, royal, gem-studded throne to the infinite being, what will you do next? Is described in detail in verse number 1, and we shall see more tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.